West Ham United have made a bid worth 25 million for Lorient striker Terem Moffi. Moffi is currently the second highest goal scorer over in French football. Only Kylian Mbappe has got more league goals than him this season. The 23-year-old Lorient striker has got 12 goals in 18 games, including a goal yesterday against Marseille, as well as midweek last week too. So not only is he racking up the goals this season, he is a striker bang in form. Now this is a name that will be familiar with West Ham fans to some extent. We've been linked to him since the start of the window really. So a couple of weeks ago his name cropped up among a couple of others from French football. It's been widely reported for some time now that West Ham are very, very keen on bringing in players from France, and we've seen that. We've brought in Lucas Paqueta, we've brought in Nefa Gerd. There's other examples as well where we have dipped into the French transfer market, and the rumours in the build up to the January transfer window was that we're once again looking at that league for the solution. Now what the question may be, we'll have to wait and see. Is it a right back, is it a striker, whatever we were looking for, we were looking in the French league as well. And Moffi was someone we were linked to at the start of January. During the week, last week, L'Equipe Sport, obviously a French media outlet, they were reporting that West Ham had an initial bid of around about 30 million rejected for Moffi. It's been widely reported that other Premier League clubs are linked to him as well. So it's not just West Ham that are linked to him. However, Sky Sports are reporting tonight that we have made a bid of 20 million plus a potential 5 million of add-ons. Now, a couple of the other clubs that have been linked to him have been Southampton, but it looks like their interest is cool due to their success in other transfer pursuits. And Newcastle United as well, which, given that they've got Callum Wilson, they've got Alexander Isak, obviously Chris Wood as well. Hey, when you've got Chris Wood, you don't need anybody else. But the thing with Moffi is, he is versatile. He has been playing as a striker for Lorient this season, but he's capable of playing either side of the striker as well in a front three. Like I said, banging in the goals. Is this the answer? I don't actually know. I can't tell you enough about the player. I don't watch French football, so if you're watching this video and you think I've got an opinion on Moffi, I've seen a bit of him, please put it in the comments below, because I'm genuinely looking forward to reading it, and there'll be other people watching this right now that don't know much about him, might be interested in reading your comments as well. And I'm sure Gonzo will be searching YouTube tonight, up and down, left and right, looking at all the footage of him, all 12 goals, and he'll have his verdict tomorrow or the following day, I am sure. I've seen a few clips of him on social media over the last few weeks. I've been linked to him. It's more just his goals. He is left-footed, he's fast, and he wears his socks like Jack Grealish. None of that's a reason to go buy a player, but it's something I remember. Likes his socks rolled down. But like I said, Terem Moffi of Lorient, Sky Sports are reporting we have bid worth up to 25 million for him this evening. Now that's the player. I don't know much about him, so I'm going to park that. But it's more about the situation. And that is, we need goals. We are struggling this season. Is buying a goal scorer, and he's clearly a goal scorer. He's got a really good record this season. 12 and 18 is fantastic. Right, brilliant record, no doubt about that. Is he capable of doing it in Premier League? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, potentially. But we need somebody to score the goals. The problem is, I don't know if that's the only problem, because we're lacking the creativity as well. It's not like we've been serving up Antonio and Scamacca loads of goal-scoring opportunities in recent weeks and they're missing all these big chances. Those big chances have not been getting created. We've had some half chances, we've had some bits and pieces, but the fact of the matter is, our most recent goals, we've had a penalty and 2 individual strikes from Saïd Benrahma and Gianluca Scamacca. That's been our 3 latest goals. There's been no creativity. There's not been that cutting pass that splits open defence and puts it on a plate for a striker. And that's what we're lacking. So buying Moffi, does that solve that problem? I'm not convinced, even without knowing loads about the players. At the end of the day, Moffi's scoring 2 goals every 3 games, an outrageous record. It's a fantastic goal scoring effort so far this season, but we can't provide for him. Well, he's not going to be scoring 2 goals every 3 games, is he? Like I said, I've got no problems with his scoring record on paper. It's just, I'm not convinced that that is the solution to all of our problems, but I wait and see what people say. The one thing I hope I'm going to get told is that there's maybe a little bit of similarity between Moffi and how he plays and Raspadori and how he played at Sassuolo with Scamacca. And I'm just hoping that potentially that he is the person that's going to unlock the potential of Gianluca Scamacca, because I don't think we've seen it just yet. But like I said, the one thing that's lacking from Moffi's statistics is assists. He hasn't got any. Is it because he's playing a striker? Is it because of the level of ability of the players around him? I don't know. I'm looking forward to discovering this. However, for the next part of the video, it's hypothetical. Okay, I want to be clear. I am going to be discussing in the next part, hypothetically, that this bit is true. If what Sky Sports is reporting is true. Now, I'm not saying I think it is. I'm just saying, just for clarity, if you don't want to hear a hypothetical discussion, now's the time to switch off. But before you do, please do drop a like on the video and subscribe when you do Hammers Chat. But for those who are interested in a hypothetical discussion, here we go. Because when I heard this report come out this evening on Sky, my immediate thought was, well, first of all, who's that guy? And second of all, who is sanctioning this? Why would we be doing it now? Now, I don't, like I said, I don't disagree that we need something at that side of the pitch, whether it's to score goals and create goals. I think we need both. But who is sanctioning this? Because when we always do this, we always take a look back at the latest transfer window. And there's always big questions over who chose which player, who authorised that signing, who wanted that player. And it changes by player, signing by signing. There's always some evidence to suggest it was a David Moyes signing, and there's always evidence to suggest it wasn't a David Moyes signing. For example, Nath Aguerd, I think there's plenty of evidence to suggest that that was David Moyes' pick. His fingerprints are all over it. Aguerd arrived, spoke about conversations that him and Moyes had had in the past, a long time ago. Aguerd was strongly linked to West Ham over 12 months before we actually purchased him. The first signing of the summer window for 25 million, a big fee we paid out for him as well. Since he's been fully fit, he's gone back in. I think there's a lot of evidence to suggest that Aguerd was somebody that David Moyes wanted. Likewise, Flynn Downs. There's a lot to suggest that that wasn't a David Moyes signing. There was suspicions as soon as he came in from Swansea City. And what we've seen of him, or should I say what we haven't seen from him because he's not been on the pitch very much, would suggest that probably wasn't a David Moyes signing. And then all the others we can all pick apart and dispute. Well, we'll never factually know, but you can guess. You can make educated guesses based on the evidence presented before you. Like I said, Lucas Paqueta, Stuart Pearce told us they'd never heard of him until we played Lyon. So that's March at the earliest that David Moyes became aware of Paqueta. That would probably suggest that it wasn't really his signing. Anyway, that was back in summer. Like I said, we do it with every signing. And then we come to this one, Terem Moffi. And like I said, my first question was, well, why and who? Because it can't be a David Moyes signing. It just can't be. It shouldn't be. Because surely to buy a player for 20 million, or to try and buy a player for 20 million, a handful of days just before David Moyes is potentially getting sacked would just be, well, stupid. We wouldn't do that, would we? Would West Ham do something that silly? No, surely not. But the reality is, today we've had updates regarding David Moyes' future. Gonzo's covered it in the video earlier on today. We've had names we're getting linked to now. The board have drawn up a short list, and it feels a little bit like that Everton one could be the one. And if that was the case, then allowing Moyes to spend 20 million on a striker a few days prior is just not something you would do. Surely not. So that would suggest it is not a David Moyes signing. No surprise there. Like I said, I think the majority of signings possibly aren't sanctioned by the manager himself. And I don't have a problem with that, by the way. I don't have a problem with the club deciding that they're going to go down the model where they've got a recruitment team and it's more of a head coach that we're wanting. The problem is I don't really see Moyes as a head coach. I see him as an old school manager. So that's why I think we're doing sort of 1 foot in, 1 foot out with how we're doing the recruitment strategy. But regardless, we cannot allow the managers to spend that money, but at the same time the club can't really do nothing in the transfer window. So you could argue they can't really win here. But hypothetically, again, if we were to bring him in and give David Moyes the Everton game and then sack him anyway, the new manager coming in with a week to go in the window, the first thing he's going to want is money to spend. And I would imagine that this would be taking up the rest of the transfer kitty. Whatever we've got to spend in January, I imagine it's not far off what we have reportedly bid for Terem Moffi. And I think that becomes a little bit risky. Because surely when you have that conversation with potential replacements for David Moyes, one of the questions that would be asked is how much is there to spend in the January transfer window? But even disregarding that for a second, in terms of squad registration, we've only got one vacancy today. So if we were to sign Moffi, that's it. We've got our 25-man squad. Now, of course, we can alter that. We can get rid of Carter Coventry. Then you've got to bring in a homegrown player. Craig Dawson's obviously expected to leave, but like I said, and again, you've got to replace him with a homegrown player due to the quota. We could potentially unregister Maxwell Cornet if that injury is deemed to keep him out for the rest of the season. But there's very little wiggle room for the new manager, should there be one. So when this news came out that we're going after Moffi, I thought, well, great, we need somebody to score goals. But then at the same time, I thought, well, who's sanctioning this? Why are we doing this now? Is it a knee-jerk reaction? Are we panicking because we've lost, we're now in the bottom three, so quick, let's go get someone in? Because a couple of weeks ago, we got told Moyes had been offered a striker, but he's turned it down. People that are friends with people at the board told us this, that Moyes had rejected a striker. And at the time I raised the question, well, what does that mean? We need clarity on this. It's too vague for my liking. Does that mean Moyes has been offered money to buy a striker? Or does that mean Moyes has been offered a particular striker? Because the two things are completely different, but I would suggest that both scenarios are covered by that phrase. Moyes has turned down the chance to have to buy a new striker in January. Both of those things can be true under that phrase. We go back 12 months ago. Last year, the board offered David Moyes Gabigol, that striker on loan from Brazil. He said, no thank you, I don't want Gabigol. So the board put it out there. Well, we offered him a striker who's turned it down. Well, yeah, you offered him Gabigol. That's it, that specific one. And I do wonder if a couple of weeks ago, when it was a case of Moyes has rejected the chance to sign a striker, if Terem Moffi is potentially the player the manager has been offered and has rejected, and perhaps now the board are thinking, well, you know what, we're going to go get him anyway. So that if you do get dismissed and a new man comes in, he can work with Moffi. I just hope and I pray that if we do sign him, he is the answer. And I hope he is the solution to Gianluca Scamacca as well. It would raise a few questions, and this is why I'm looking forward to reading what people have got to say about him. Is he capable of playing in a front two next to Scamacca? Could it be two strikers? Is it likely that I would see him move to the side and play on the left or the right and then Scamacca through the middle? And if that's the case, is he capable of doing it? Will he get the best out of Scamacca? I have a lot of questions regarding Terem Moffi because I don't know very much about him. I say don't know very much. I know little about him. But what I do know is, regardless whether this is a David Moyes pick or whether it's not a David Moyes pick, I think it's a bit of a gamble. I think it's a risk. But because of the situation we're in regarding the manager, the fact that we're in the bottom three, the fact that we cannot score at the minute, like I said, I don't think we can create either, but the goal scoring is one issue. But we have to do something. The only thing worse than buying a player that we've scouted thoroughly and done our due diligence on, and maybe I'm being a bit kind there, but let's assume that they've done that. Let's just assume we've done a little bit of scouting on this player, right? The only thing worse than an educated gamble on somebody like Terem Moffi would be doing nothing whatsoever. We need to do business in the January transfer window. Whether it's Terem Moffi, whether he's the answer, I genuinely don't know. I don't have an opinion on him. That's why I'm looking forward to reading your comments. So, we shall wait and see, because we don't even know if the bid's true or not. I'm sure sources closer to West Ham will be letting us know in the next 24 hours or not. But the interest in the likes of him have been reported by the likes of ex-West Ham employee over the last couple of weeks. This is not a name that's new to West Ham fans this evening. The only thing that's new is the report from Sky Sports. And if you're new around here, wait, that works, doesn't it? Please do subscribe to the channel. If you've enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it. Like I said, get involved in the comments. I'm going to be back later on tonight and tomorrow to try and hopefully get a little bit of a lowdown on Moffi. But the one thing I want to know is, will he work with Scamacca? Why Moffi? That's what I want to know. So if you know him, please let me know in the comments below, and I shall catch up with you tomorrow.